YogiTriathlete just launched a brand new website. We have unrolled Squad. Squad is a virtual group coaching community like no other in the endurance sports space. We've got years of amazing content in there. Yoga for athletes, mobility classes, race course recons. We've got training plans from ultra marathons to Ironman, everything in between. We have a group coaching call every month. We have live streams, live classes, so much stuff in there, and a great community of people who are awake and ready. You will never have to train alone again with this virtual community. 7-day free trial. Get over there right now. Sign up for it. We'll see you in Squad. Namaste.
I was thinking about the difference between training for like a shorter speed type event versus an Ironman where you're just putting in an absurd amount of hours every single week and continuing to show up. And I actually thought about David Goggins and how he is all about like, stay hard, stay tough, like just like pure grit and putting your head down to get through stuff. And I think Goggins is awesome, but I don't super resonate with him because I think training for an Ironman, you have to keep releasing into your edges. It's like quite the opposite of that. Like, okay, this is a little painful. I'm not going to resist this pain. I'm going to lean into this edge of myself, go a little bit further, kind words, finish, gentle with yourself, rest. Okay, now do it again. And doing that and changing the thought stream, you really can just keep going. Like, it's not a battle. It doesn't have to be a battle. It is just moving through it and moving with it in a graceful way.
Welcome to the Yogi Triathlete podcast, where we delve into the heart of endurance, the power of the mind, and the strength of community. We are your hosts, Jess and BJ, and today we continue our IRONMAN Arizona First Timers series with Yogi Triathlete coach Melissa Gansz. Not only is Melissa a 70.3 World Championship Qualifier and a seasoned endurance athlete, but she also holds a master's in Clinical Herbal Medicine. Her approach to coaching goes beyond traditional training plans. She empowers athletes to integrate herbal adaptogens into their routines to support recovery, reduce stress, and enhance performance. Melissa's philosophy of pushing past self-imposed boundaries and moving through resistance aligns perfectly with the spirit of Ironman, not to mention Yogi Triathlete. She helps her athletes and countless others optimize their training by tapping into the power of nature and holistic performance. As we follow the journeys of our Ironman first-timers, Melissa's expertise in whole body wellness and mental resilience continues to assist the entire Yogi Triathlete community as she generously shares her knowledge during her weekly live streams in our one-on-one coaching community. Her fellow Ironman competitors are gaining a significant edge each week by incorporating her insights into their training. So let's dive into today's episode with Coach Melissa Gansz and explore the power of herbs, endurance, and mindset as we embark on this incredible journey with her to the finish line of Ironman Arizona.
I'm beaming right now. I love that intro. Thank you. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here as always.
So coming fresh, we'll jump right in. Coming fresh off a nap.
Hot off the heels of some REM.
Talk about Ironman training, like nap, carbs, and some recovery drink. You did a reel today, it was today. So share with us, let's start there with like how the herbs are helping you in your recovery as you dive deeper into the long hours and long training sessions for this Ironman build.
They're helping tremendously. And the reel that I shared, it's an Ayurvedic recipe. It's called moon milk. And you take powdered ashwagandha, turmeric, cinnamon, nutmeg, and some type of oat milk. I use coconut milk and sometimes like a little bit of ghee. And then you heat it up like really good on the stove, 5 minutes or so. You don't want it to come to a boil, just under a boil. And then I add in honey as well. And you whisk that together. It ends up being this like beautiful, frothy. Did I mention there's turmeric? I forget if I said that. A lot of turmeric recovery drink for so many reasons. Like the turmeric is anti-inflammatory combined with the ashwagandha and the honey. All three of them together, just this anti-inflammation balm. And then I drank that today after I did 800s off the bike before my nap because I'm trying to balance my nervous system. And training for an Ironman and maintaining balance in your nervous system is so, so important. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Like, our body reacts to stress, whether it's mental or physical, our body reacts the same way. And I just think like the key to absorbing your workouts is getting the proper rest and nutrition you need so that you can show up and keep loading and keep absorbing fitness as you build into the race.
How soon after you finished the 800s did you get that mixture into your body?
I want to say within an hour or so. I ate real food first. I made this like vegetable burrito type thing. And then I ate a bagel. And then I had the latte with like with a whole half a bar of dark chocolate. And then I slept like a baby. And now here I am.
Oh my God. That's making me miss Ironman training because that's it. It's just, wait, for lunch I had a burrito. And then I had a bagel. Then I had half a dark chocolate bar. And then I had the latte.
So your initial impressions moving from half to full training, you've always been focused on like repairing the body and giving the best fuels to your system to recover. What are you seeing? What are you noticing? Is there a hyper focus on what you're putting into your body and the amount that you're putting into your body? Like, what are your first impressions in the build up from a 70.3 to an Ironman?
Yeah, it's very different. For me, training for a 70.3, it's not easy because it's never easy, but it's pretty comfortable for my body to handle. Like, I can get away with like having a Stella after run club at 8 p.m. and waking up and feeling okay. I had a Stella after run club last night and woke up tired because I'm tired going into yesterday. I'm tired going into today. So it's like this compounding effect. The load is so much more that I really have been like hyper vigilant about my recovery just because I see like how impactful it is, like the nutrition and then tiny little things like ice bathing. I never go to bed without stretching because it just catches up to me. And I just want to make the most out of my time. Like, this is so much time and effort I'm putting into training. So I want to make sure what I'm getting out on the other side is like as close to 100% as it could be.
I think that's what it's going to make you so successful on race day. But even with this hypervigilance, and I think, you may even have it even deeper than the others because as a coach, it's like, this is research. Like you're an experiment of one for yourself in this experience. And you're realizing like, it's not just double the distance. It's so much more, but even with all your knowledge, all your practices, because you're definitely somebody who walks her talk, you're still experiencing like yesterday, you shared with everyone that you got on the bike, you had this workout and you were like, not happening. So you're still experiencing those things, knowing that there's just this constant level of fatigue. So talk to me about the discernment between like, oh yeah, I don't have it today, or just the body being like, oh my God, all I want to do is just like pull the sheets up and be comfortable and have a nap, right? Like the part that's like, don't do it, stay small. And the other part that's like that voice that just knows like, yep, this isn't the day. Is there a different flavor to those?
Yeah, I think we learn from our mistakes. And honestly, I've overtrained myself so much in the past. And I know what it feels like at this point. And I feel like I've been very responsible with keeping myself super consistent and adjusting my workouts where necessary. Like, small example, Wednesdays today, I do a 3-hour longish ride, and then I'm building 800s off the bike. So last week I was at 12. Today was supposed to be 14. And I knew even getting onto the bike that I was going to have to adjust the run today. So I still got in speed work. I did 10 by 3 minutes. And it wasn't at the same pace that I would be doing 100. It was more like just under race pace, I want to say. So I really wasn't like digging that hole further or destroying myself for the rest of the week. I was just kind of like walking up to that stop line. Like when I say stop line, I mean the line that's like, wow, this hurts. This is too much. Like I was like easing into that and then backing off from it in those repeats. Like I was very careful not to overcook myself because you can't. Like I have 5 weeks of work left. I really got to be smart.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's a skill to acquire as you gain experience, only by going too far. And then learning from that. I think that's the takeaway, is noticing there's a better way to do this that doesn't quite put me into the deep hole. Although we get into these moments where we love the training so much, we just keep going. So you're like 16. Oh, 16 800s. Awesome. Well, why not 18? Why not 20? Oh, I'm going to go for 24 800s off the bike. And where does it end? As long as it happens, there's no evidence until you bump right up against that. 24 might have been a little too much. But what you did today, like to me, that's Ironman training. It's staying the course, but staying fluid and flexible in how it's actually executed. And that has something to do with trust in yourself. How much do you trust yourself?
I trust myself a lot. Yeah, I do, because one, I feel ready for this. Like I know I still have a lot of time left, but mentally I've done the work. Physically, I feel like I've been doing the work all year long. So there's like a lot of trust in my body. And I just know that like this is the next step in my journey, and I trust God with it. And honestly, like I felt the nudge today where he was like, turn it down a little bit. And I was like, okay, I hear you. Like, I know I need to. And that's because, I spend time in the morning meditating. I read the Bible a little bit. Like I feel very in touch with my spirit and my body and what I need. And I think yes, like that like goes with the keeping it in balance, like keeping my body in balance, but also keeping my mind in balance so that I don't like shoot off like a rocket and destroy myself, because I've done that in the past, like gotten too into the training, too obsessed, too OCD about hitting every workout, and it's not good. Like Ironman training, we want to hit 20 hours a week, but each day is building on each other. So keeping yourself in check on a spiritual level.
How do you keep your mind about you in regards to the fatigue level? Because carrying the level of fatigue every day, and then whatever your sleep is like at night, that can be a stressor for people. Like, oh my God, I'm so tired, like, and I'm still doing this. And, just that, I guess, the mindset relationship to carrying this fatigue with you. How do you see it? Do you ever hit that, like, kind of almost like a worry phase of like, oh my God, like, am I going to be able to do this? All this fatigue, or I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Like, what's your relationship with that fatigue and sleep?
I've come a long way with this. Yes, it does still stress me out, but I sleep really, really well now. Like I feel like I haven't had a bad night's sleep in a very long time. And I think I just know like our body's always going to catch up. Like this is temporary fatigue. And if I feel fatigued for like a week straight where I'm brain foggy, like I'm having trouble executing workouts, like if I'm in that space, I'm not afraid to take 2 days off and like get my hormones straight, get my mind dialed in, and come right back to it even stronger. There's nothing wrong with that.
Where do you think your Where do you think your biggest opportunity lies in this build to Arizona to be successful on race day? Where's the one thing that maybe scares you a little bit, but you're putting in the work and paying attention to it?
Nutrition. And I picked this because it's probably my number one challenge going into long distance courses. And BJ knows this. I've gone completely liquid in my nutrition the past 6 months. In the past 2 months, I really have gone all liquid. So I'm taking in Blank's nutrition, and even on my training rides, 60 to 80 grams of carb an hour. And I think that's the reason I'm able to keep going through all my workouts, because I'm always drinking it, like even just for like an hour bike ride. Because I've noticed if I'm just consistent with that fuel in my body, I feel so much better. But yeah, I've had a lot of races where my digestive system shuts down on the run. And I think my biggest learning opportunity is to just trust that it's not going to happen, honestly, because I've come a long way and I haven't seen it like alive yet in a really long race using this new nutrition. So yeah, it just really goes back to that trust factor. Like, I think doing an Ironman and training for it, and hopefully everything executes the way you want it to be, it's just all trust.
You also had a race that you were able to test this out a little bit not too long ago. Tell us about that experience, because I think that was beneficial in setting up the stage for what you're leaning into now.
Yeah, I did. I call it a bucket list course. It's called SOS Triathlon, Survival of the Shawangunk Mountains. It's in New York, about an hour and a half from the city, up in this mountain range. It was truly life-changing. To the nutrition point, it went super well. Like, I had no digestive issues. And the funny thing is, before this race, so many people were like telling me, and this is noise, this is what people do, that a lot of people don't finish because of stomach upset. Because this race is very unique. It's an 8-leg stage race. So you bike 30 miles from this field into the mountain range. So it's first 20 miles are flat. Second 10 miles is like 2,000 feet of climbing, just straight up. And it's so pretty. Really awesome bike course. But I've been telling people, like, the course starts right off the bike, because from there is a 7-leg swim run course. So you get off the bike, you run 5 miles uphill trails, get into your first glacial lake that's in like the low 60s, and you swim 1.1 miles. You get out, you do another 5.5 mile run, you swim again, you do an 8 mile run, you swim again, one more run, you swim again, and then you finish. But it's tricky because when you are swimming, I swim in my sneakers, you get out and you start running again. But because your body is vertical and going straight up, and that pivot happens 6 times, apparently, like, the digestive system tends to like freak out and shut down. So leading into this, I was like, like, how's this going to go? Number one, I'm really bad at swimming in cold water. And number two, my digestive system is not great compared to, I would say, like the average person. But I did amazing. I got second in my age group. It was the best course of my life. I've never been happier. Yeah, I was like definitely in my element out there, just like grooving. And I was so excited to like see what's next the whole time, because I think Ironman branded events, you know what you're getting into, you know what you're looking at. But this was just like totally rogue. And I feel like they just kind of let you loose,
That sounds amazing. It sounds very much like something I would love to do. Will you do it again?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you wear a wetsuit?
Next year,
Yeah.
No wetsuit.
no wetsuit. But there were people wearing wetsuits, and I really questioned their judgment. Like, I do not want to run 18 miles in any type of neoprene outfit. felt bad for them. I was like, damn, and they were taking their shoes off. I'm like, you're losing time and you're not going to feel like a superhero getting out of the water with that thing.
So we talked a little bit about how, well, nutrition, your big opportunity, and also like, yes, you're experiencing those days where you're just carrying so much fatigue and sometimes you have to call it. Are you also having the moments of like pure elation and feeling of what it is that's there to meet you on November 17th?
I am so much. I feel elated often. Today, I was tired. I wasn't feeling like super elated, but there's always glimpses of being aware of where I'm at and what's going on. Like I was riding today. It's fall, like the leaves are changing. It was in the low 60s here. So I had like a sweatshirt on, just to start the morning off. And I was like way out there, like 25 miles from my house, like back towards Lancaster County, which is fields, horses, like leaves are just falling. The sun's shining through. And I was like, damn, this is my life. And this is awesome. Like, I can't believe I get to wake up and do this and that my body feels good doing it. Like, it's just an amazing feeling to have the capacity to travel your body that far and see so much, like all the time. I get to do that every single day.
It is quite euphoric, right? You have that appreciation that, man, I got out of bed and this is what I get to do. Are there ever moments where you're like, I can just sleep in and pull the covers over and do my ride later, possibly, and see what happens? Are there ever moments you feel that?
Yeah. Yes, there are. And I'll be honest, I've done it. Perfect example. 3 weeks ago, I rode on a Saturday really far with some friends. I think we did like 85 hilly miles. So I woke up Sunday really tired, and I was supposed to be meeting up with everyone for a 2.5-hour run. And I just, honestly, I called it. I went back to bed. I went to church. I didn't start my run until 2 p.m., but I did it by myself. I brought like a little boombox speaker in my bag. And I went for a trail run. I was like, you know what? I need to like do my thing. My thing is running trails. Like if I wasn't doing Ironman, that's probably what I would do. I just kind of like to be like a woodland creature. So I went and was a woodland creature, and it was a great decision. I slept in and no regrets.
I think that's the distinction right there, right? You don't beat yourself up saying like, oh, I slept in and I didn't get my workout. And there's always time to do it, and it may look different. And I think that's the pivoting and shifting in Ironman training that's so essential for long-term success. Long-term success, having those outlets, the trails, the gravel riding, doing the SOS triathlon, things that don't fit into the box of traditional Ironman training, but are so fruitful to the joy factor, filling up your cup of joy so that you're constantly engaged in the experience that you're about to have, not showing up on race day and, disgruntled because it's like, I did all this work, I'm super tired, I had all these things stacked up, and now I'm here for race day, and you can't even like experience that amazingness. So these are all good decisions. You can see that.
Totally. Yeah. If I didn't do what I did that weekend, if I didn't do SOS, if I didn't spend, I would say 20% of my workouts just doing what feels good, I don't think I'd even make it to the start line. Like, I'm just not that person. I know a lot of people follow the plan. They run on the roads, they ride flat, they do all the things, but I really have to keep it light and stay fun. Like, that's why I do the sport.
You're also saying, I see this thread, you're also saying yes to a lot of things lately that are not in the box of comfort. Do you feel like there's a trend now where you're like, yes, 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 yes?
I do, honestly. Yeah. There's been quite a few things, like my career choices have just been like a yes to just going on my dreams. I recently joined a cycling team, which I'm super pumped about. They challenged me and I'm really excited. I'm going to get into gravel racing after Ironman. So excited to get like super strong on the bike and move fluidly, like in a Peloton. Definitely not, your Ironman typical things, but I can feel like the stuff that I'm passionate about, when doors open, I'm just like, okay, I need to walk through that. Like there's no point in waiting. I think time passes when we just don't like jump on the opportunities in front of us. So I've been saying yes. Yeah.
I was just telling you, like, this urgency in life.
Oh,
like there's an urgency. I think I was almost to the point of screaming. Jess was like, take it down. Just this urgency, like we have to take action on these decisions, because complacency and comfortability is right there. It's right next to all these decisions that can change our life, literally change our life. And we can choose that adventure and that unknown, or we can be like comfortable and safe. And again, miss an opportunity to live this life that is so abundantly filled with opportunities for us to grow and expand. And yet countless times, myself included, we continually shut the door because we want to stick with the known or what's safe. So great job. Keep saying yes and yes.
Thank you. I think I'm trying out here.
when you are going all in on something in your life, it might even be Ironman, right? Or it could be Ironman and a massive career shift like you did. Both of those things.
At the same time.
Saying yes is so important, because it's just like door open, door open, door open. My door is open. Oh, there's another door that just opened. And it's like you just keep walking through all these doors, right? That it will eventually lead you into, just the physical piece of that dream coming in, right? Which is, I don't know, the finish line, or, having an amazing time in Arizona, or having that wait-listed roster of athletes, right? Like it takes a minute before these things materialize. But I think along the way, it's like, yes, yes, yes. And so sometimes you can get like blinders on, I think, when you're training for Ironman too, and like maybe a cycling team, like, no, I can't go into a cycling team because then I'll be in a Peloton. And like, what if something happens? But it's like, yes, this is going to make me a better cyclist. Like, and just keep this open mind where you're seeing how, not even in hindsight, but in foresight, how a trust of like, yes, it's all clicking in to the puzzle. That's like taking me where I need to go. But I think there's an importance of this yes factor. And within the yes, you said the other word, which is super important, which is surrender. So how does surrender play into achieving an Ironman goal like you have, or a professional goal? How does surrender? Because surrender is just like, you're just like, lay down, don't do anything. How does that all play in?
I was actually thinking about this so much yesterday. I was journaling about it. I think I was thinking about the difference between, sorry, I might go off a little bit here, but I was thinking about the difference between training for like a shorter speed type event versus an Ironman where you're just putting in an absurd amount of hours every single week and continuing to show up. And I actually thought about David Goggins and how he is all about like, stay hard, stay tough, like just like pure grit and putting your head down to get through stuff. And I think Goggins is awesome, but I don't super resonate with him, because I think training for an Ironman, you have to keep releasing into your edges. It's like quite the opposite of that. Like if I was trying to do 2 workouts a day, like I'm doing now, and the whole time I'm going in thinking I'm like gritty and I'm creating all this like resistance in my body, and I'm like, I'm just going to get through this. Like that's exhausting. So the way I get through everything, I really like lean into my edges constantly. Like even this morning, like on rep 8 of 10 of the interval, like, okay, this is a little painful. I'm not going to resist this pain. I'm going to lean into this edge of myself, go a little bit further, kind words, finish, gentle with yourself, rest. Okay, now do it again. And doing that and changing the thought stream you really can just keep going. Like, it's not a battle. It doesn't have to be a battle. It is just moving through it and moving with it in a graceful way.
I feel like the releasing, the surrendering from the plan and how it all has to be executed is the up leveling. When you get to that race course in Arizona, you're going to have a plan and you're going to have goals, but you must surrender to the opportunities and challenge that arise, because it's going to be relentless. And it's a long day, longer than anything that you will do. Even if you're getting in 6 and 8 hour training days, you're not a professional. So you're not going to finish Ironman in 8 hours, but you have a glimpse into like, okay, this is some serious stuff. I'm putting myself into a really unknown atmosphere here. And if you don't have that ability to stay fluid and flexible and you grip too tightly, you're going to be disrupted. You're going to be challenged. And all of that, this is good into what you do with herbs and stuff. All of that chaos can wreak havoc on your body and your nervous system, especially during the race. And then you don't know which direction it's going to take. Your nutrition could tank down. Your nutrition could be great for some reason. But I think having that baseline, that solid understanding of your body and finding that steady nervous system, like calm, is going to benefit you on race day and any athlete on race day if they are doing the things outside of that experience. So we always talk about like the daily nutrition. We do it, I think it's important: rest, recovery, nutrition, mindset, all of that. And then in the 48 hours leading into a race, you kind of like deviate from it a little bit in terms of like what you eat, what you fill with, whatever your strategy is. But because of that foundation, you're able to be awake and ready when it comes to race day to handle any of the challenges that come your way.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have a mental plan, and I'm sure it's not going to go as I intend, because that's never how it goes during a race, especially when there's a lot more hours and a lot more distance to be covered. So I think like when I do get derailed on race day, which I know is going to happen, something's going to come up. Yeah, I'm just going to let go. Like, all right, this is a part of the process. Like, not everything today is going to go perfect. How can I adapt? What can I do right now to keep moving forward? And it's kind of like strategy. Like, it's kind of the fun of it. You never know what's going to be thrown at you, but you have to constantly be strategizing and changing your plan to make it work for the day.
How do you plan to snap out of that? Let's just say you're on the run and you're kind of like disgruntled. You're like, this wasn't going the way. Like, how do you have a tool or something that will pull you out of that, of the mind potentially, however long it is? Because, we all have it. It could be 1 second. It could be 10 seconds. It could be 10 minutes. Is there anything you use to pull yourself out? Yeah.
Yeah. I said this to a guy. I was spectating Ironman, and I said this to a guy, and he got so pissed at me. But this is what I think of, and I honestly have thought this way even since my first 70.3. Like, this is, during that race, is such a small glimpse of time in my life. Like, if I'm looking at it from like a 10,000 foot view, and here I am, and this is what I'm overcoming, like it doesn't define me. Like, if I have to walk a little bit on the run, so be it. Like, I'm going to try and fight back. But if I can't, it doesn't define me. So I won't let it like derail me or take over my race. And no matter how long the race may seem like in our mind in that moment, I think if we can zoom out and just realize like, this is just a glimpse, like we're actually pretty small and insignificant. Like, hopefully the day goes well and I'm going to go for that. But like, it doesn't define who I am. Like, it's all right. But back to the story of the guy, he was walking like the past few miles and I was cheering people on, and he was like clearly disgruntled and hurting and really angry. And I was like, it's okay. Like, this is just a glimpse in time. Like, you got this. I believe in you. And he was like huffing and puffing, like, a glimpse. Like, I still have 3 hours left. And then he just kept going. And in my head, I was like, damn. I was like, I'm gonna pray for that guy, and he needs some prayers.
What's interesting, when we're in that mindset that person was in, and the only way I can like assume like how it would feel for me would be like kind of like a victim, like, oh my God, I'm going so slow. This is so hard. Da, 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 and you just kind of feel powerless. So it doesn't matter what you say to them. They're not aligned to receive it in the way that, of your intention. I know. And at Ironman, especially when you're spectating, there's definitely like athletes where you're like, am I going to make it worse if I go in there with like my big, shiny, happy face?
Well, you also can't say, we've seen it from both sides. If you're a spectator, you're like, you look so good. You look so good. And you're the athlete and you're like, I know I don't look good. I feel like crap. My feet hurt. Like,
so you can't receive it. Like when you're in that.
Totally. It's tough to receive it sometimes, but yeah.
I had a sign up. I'm just going to say this because I think it's funny. I had some funny signs when I was cheering people on. And one of them, it was a bright pink sign with black thick marker. It just said, "You are sexy," like across the whole board. And I kept like waving it up to people who looked like they were dying. And everyone was just like, liar. But they laughed at it. And some guys, like, it put a little pep in their step. I was like, all right, that worked. But yeah, it's kind of like a mind experiment to cheer people on at Ironman. I found it to be actually very entertaining.
One of the best signs I saw was in Lake Placid on the backside up towards this campground. And the guy was like, smile if you peed on your bike already. And everybody was like smiling coming through there because they all at some point, most often, had peed on their bike.
That signs at all Ironmans.
Oh, it is?
Have you never seen it?
I don't know. I've never seen it. Well, I'm not looking for signs.
I've seen that one, okay. BJ, like a few times. Or like smile if you peed a little bit.
They've been running that campaign for like a decade.
Well, it's new to me.
All right, Melissa, what makes you Ironman material?
Ooh, that's a good one. I am definitely very resilient, I would say. I also am like a huge softie, and I try not to take myself very seriously. Definitely, if I have a goal, always give something my 100%. But I'm also like super goofy. My, you know how they have like trail names for people? My training group, they call me FM, which stands for Feral Melissa, because I tend to go a little rogue, a little wild. I like to keep it fun. I might disappear. If you're running with me, I might come back. I might go pick some plants in the woods and come out with something for tea later. Like, you just never know. I really try and keep it light. And I think that makes me a good candidate for Ironman because I'm going to have fun out there, like, no matter what. I know it's going to be a tough day, but I'm excited to see like what parts of myself I am able to dig into. I think the more we stretch ourselves in these long distance races, like, we always are uncovering something. And that's why I signed up. Like, I'm excited to see like what's uncovered and what I really have in there and what my faith can bring out those last few hours. So there's definitely like a level of curiosity going on heading into this race.
How does it feel to have you'll have 5, but like 4 other first timers out there with you? And then just this addition of coming together with the group podcast, and then, we're starting to release the individual podcast now. Like, how does that all feel to be really like moving into this long day as like a pod, like an organism, like all of you coming in to have your individual experiences, all of which are your first time Ironman finishes?
I love it. I think it's always somehow super comforting to know that you have friends out there at the same time, like in it right there with you. Like I've even had races where, like last year at Santa Cruz, I was on the West Coast and I had friends racing on the East Coast. And I remember thinking like, while I was on the bike, how they were starting, and just thinking about them gave me more energy. And they weren't even on the course with me. So like the fact that, I'm going to be passing people on the run and
Brendan,
I'm going to be able to see. Yeah, Brendan. Yeah,
Brendan.
Maybe he's fast. I'm going to try.
You're going to have to listen to his episode.
What does he want to pass me?
He doesn't want to get passed.
Oh, well then I'm definitely going to pass him. Don't challenge FM. I'll come after you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding actually. What was the question? Oh yeah, I just am excited to see everyone and feed off everyone's energy. I think yeah, like we're doing this alone, but I sure as hell didn't get here alone.
What do you think about like the power of community as like on an effect of like our mental and physical well-being?
It's everything. Like I wouldn't do this sport if I did it alone. I am so blessed by my community here I have at home. Like at any given time, if I want to go for a long ride, I have so many people that will just like hop in, even if it's only for like half of it or at the end of it. And then YogiTriathlete has been so amazing for my endurance journey. Like all of the mindset stuff, both of you guys as my mentors, the team, like connecting through this podcast series and hearing everyone's story. Like I was even listening to Laura yesterday on the trainer. This is my like struggle city trainer. So I put her on and she said something about not letting Satan win, like while I was on the bike. And I literally like fist pumped the air. I was like, yeah, Laura, let's go. So yeah, I think same energy, day of the race. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be such a treat. And just this whole series has been such a treat so far. Yeah.
Well, pie in the sky. Let's talk pie in the sky because you're a coach. You're a motivated, top tiered athlete. You've been to 70.3 worlds. What's pie in the sky outcome for you? And we can talk times because again, this isn't about like we're gritting and attaching to like this has to go this way. We've already expressed that this is a journey and this is an up leveling in your life and saying yes to opportunities that are a little bit scary. What is your dream? What's your dream result?
Well, and also I want to preface that a pie in the sky thing has no buts. There's no buts. But okay. We'll have to see. But blah, blah, blah. But da, da, da.
I had a lot of buts going through mentally. So I'll just cut those out and say pie in the sky. My 70.3 18 months ago, so this is like a long time ago, was 5:20. And I finished fine. Like I could have pushed it. Honestly. No regrets, but I could have pushed it a little more. So I think like pie in the sky, since it's double the distance, would be like sub 11 hours. But that is like a big stretch. I had a button there. Sorry. Pie in the sky. That's my goal. I think I can maybe do that.
What would get in the way of you not achieving that goal?
Running a marathon off the bike might get in the way.
Have you run a marathon before? Open?
Yes. Oh, so I do have this going for me. I ran a marathon, did very well, and I was very, very sick. So I feel like Ironman might be the same. It's going to feel like pretty identical to that.
What was the time on that marathon?
3:32.
That's fast.
Very sick. Yeah.
Watch out, Brendan.
Yeah.
Watch out. I'm coming for you.
Well, he was doing a little trash talk on Emma. And we were like, dude, you better watch out for Coach Melissa.
Emma's no joke. Yeah, seriously. He better watch out for both of us. I think we're coming on to him.
It's going to be great. I love it.
It is going to be great. Yeah. I love this.
Well, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't ask, like, with all this stress, fatigue, the travel that's coming up, blah, blah, blah. Anybody who's trained for an Ironman, there's always a heightened level, right? Like your body is being pushed, right? Which is why it's so important to nurture the nervous system, so that you can recover well. But what's a really good herb for nurturing the nervous system during a load like Ironman? Because you're like in build right now. And then what's going to happen is like,
Peak.
you'll be like a little less tired, or maybe you're just like more used to it or something. But then like all the fitness is going to start coming in. You're going to start nailing some pretty crazy stuff, which is awesome. So to get us to the peak of our peak, like, what's a good herb?
I'm going to pick a feminine herb. Shatavari has been my jam. Definitely been more difficult with Ironman training, but I really do cycle sync my training. So like women's cycle, if I'm leading into ovulation, like that week before where my estrogen's really high, I tend to have like solid energy, and generally I'm faster. I have a lot of energy, mental clarity, all that good stuff. I've been cycle syncing the herbs I take too. So like leading into menstruation when my estrogen I know is low, I've been taking Shatavari, which is a phytoestrogenic herb. It mimics estrogen in the body, and it makes up for, not fully, but it really makes up for that lack of estrogen I'm experiencing. And I don't like abuse it, because I know sometimes people are like, oh, let me use herbs to like slap on something that's going to like make me more powerful. Like, no, I'm tapping into like what's available to me as a natural source on this planet to supplement some of the swings of my hormone cycle so that I can kind of move through everything more fluidly.
And Shatavari is something that, we talked about it on the Women's Wellness Series podcast that we did, but it's something that women of like all ages can take, right? It's kind of like this.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a women's tonic for sure. Menopause, it's amazing for menopause, hot flashes. Again, menopause, what we go through as women during menopause is hormonally very similar to what PMS looks like on the hormone chart. So I use it when I'm PMSing, Shatavari. But if someone is going through menopause, perimenopause, that's something that they can take like all the time to supplement estrogen loss. Yeah, it's really good women's herb. I think you take it, right, Jess?
Oh, yeah. I totally take it. I ran out once. I will never run out again.
You can't. It's very grounding. So for people with like fiery energy, Jess and I are both pit of fire, crazy girls. We need Shatavari. Like I gotta ground myself and stay neutral.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about me. What would fire me up? Because I'm more chill and
what about the
even keeled? If I want to get that fire up,
you have a lot of options, Beej. I would go with cordyceps, which is a mushroom. Cordyceps are very interesting. They're actually parasitic, and there's like a larva that takes over insects, and this like cordyceps mushroom grows out of it. It's wild, but it's an adaptogenic mushroom / herb that's really good for endurance, especially for men.
In what format would that? I mean, I don't particularly like to eat mushrooms, but I'm assuming you can put it into a concoction all ground up and stuff. That may be a little bit.
Yeah, you get it powdered form in a capsule. Okay. So you just take it like a pill and get it in that way.
Perfect.
Is that good for women too, cordyceps?
It is good for women. It's good for everyone. I would say like, for me, there's a lot of different adaptogens that are good for specific purposes. Like deep fatigue, ashwagandha. That's why like during my Ironman build, I'm going with the ashwagandha. But like as I lead up to a race, I might go with like cordyceps mushrooms because it's more of like a spicy energy. Rhodiola, it's like super stimulating. Right now, I don't want stimulating. Like I have enough stimulation going on. I need grounding, but like as the race gears up, I might swap it over to something that's more fiery. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's incredible what the knowledge that you have and that you're living it, right? So it's like, it's not just in your brain. Like it's literally you are the living version of what it means to add herbal support to your endurance journey. It's nuts. It's so awesome. And you share with the team in the one-on-one community. We're so grateful because, we love all that stuff too, but you've been such a source of education for us as well. What do you want people to know about you as a coach?
I love working with people who want to explore parts of themselves that they have not tapped into yet. I think that's what endurance training is all about. And from my experience, it's been really has expanded like what I thought possible for myself. And I think for my goal as a coach, really, I want to see my athletes like unlock the same things in their lives. Like, yes, it's cool that I can, take my body super far. Like, I love that, but that's not why I do endurance sports. I think as we continue to push ourselves and see what's behind closed doors, like, and break, honestly, like, personal fears that we have and have developed about ourselves, all those limitations, we start to get curious, like, oh, like what other parts of my life am I limiting? Like I've seen what's on the other side of that in my training. Like what's on the other side of that in this situation in my life? Like, can I get through this in a way that I didn't think it was possible for myself?
One last question for Coach Melissa, talking to athlete Melissa. What's one thing to focus on in these final 6 weeks to stay the course?
Staying healthy. I feel like we've talked about mostly that and finding balance. Like I feel like I've mostly done the work. Like I know I need to definitely get in some key sessions this next month. But I can't race if I don't get there feeling really good. So mentally, keep it steady, like continue all my spiritual practices and physically train hard, but don't overcook it. Like just keep looking within so that we can get to the starting line feeling really good.
Yeah, you want to show up. That's great. You want to show up undercooked versus overcooked, especially for the type of distance that you're going after. So yeah, amazing lead up. I know we have talks weekly here and I know where you're at in your training and where your purpose is, and just keep doing the work, keep doing what you're doing. So like, don't overreach, continually stay on this path that you're on. You're not only feeding your endurance engine and your speed engine, obviously with those 800s, but you're feeding your joy. And that by far will be the biggest factor that will come into play on race day is, can you find that glimpse of joy again and again and again in the hurt, in the suffer, because you always can. So you're doing amazing.
Thank you, Beach. Yeah, I think that's the ticket. Like we do all this stuff and it's supposed to be joyful. Like I didn't sign up for an Ironman to put my head down for 6 months and hope that I finish for like a golden ticket. Like, here you go, here's your stamp. No, like I did it to learn about myself. I did it to find joy in the ups and downs. And I did it to sharpen my experience in this life. So let's go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.